This episode, we carry on in our series of fixing the prequel movies with episode 2, The Clone Wars. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you've tuned into The Chocolate Dollar Show.
Hailing from the Midwest region of the United States, we introduce to you the Chocolate Dollar Podcast.
This is only our second episode?
Yep.
Ever.
In existence. Actually, this
we're
is
actually
technically episode 3 of season 2.
I'm so glad we chose
We're
the name
fixing
Chocolate Dollar.
Our episode 2.
Yeah,
We're fixing our
Yeah, we're fixing our episode
second.
too.
What even
Alright.
was our episode 2?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, well, my name is Jonathan. Welcome to The Chocolate Dollar Show. To my left, we have
Ed.
And then all the way in from Virginia, we
Noah.
have. And then last but certainly not least,
Grant.
he who shall not name himself.
Grant.
King.
Every time.
Wow, I think you sound like a dementor. Anyway, we're
I was
doing.
like, this sounds very Voldemort-esque.
Hiroshima.
But wrong movie
Go
franchise.
Cut my nose off. All right, we're doing episode 2.
Star Wars
the
episode 2.
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, yep. So, if
Wait,
you
real
haven't
quick,
listened...
with the first one, we all like kind of mentioned how long it's been since we've seen it, because I just wanted to plug that I haven't seen this one in a while.
Yeah,
I think we
maybe
should
5
recap. Can you plug in the recap from the previous one?
So, in just a moment, I'm going to go ahead and insert our recap of what we revisioned episode 1 right here.
Intro is going down to the starving Naboo. They see people dying. They're sad. They go up to the Viceroy Gunray, whatever his name is. They go up to
I
his
just call him
ship.
Viceroy.
They go up to his ship. Pretty much the same thing happens, except now they steal ships to get out, and that triggers essentially the battle. That triggers them sending ship droids down to find them, like more so than before. Like it's actual siege now, like war. They then split up the two Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn goes on an archaeological dig and finds Jar Jar. This is kind of happening interspersed to the Obi-Wan story. Obi-Wan and Padme and R2-D2, because we need to bring R2-D2.
Yeah.
Take a nice little trip to space, get blown out of the sky,
Like they normally do,
land in Tatooine. There's a more charming Anakin that's maybe more like 14, 15.
Yep.
That can act.
Tom Holland. Here you go.
Oh,
And he's too old. And he
Okay.
helps them.
yeah, he
win the
helps
pod
them
race.
Yeah.
win the pod race to get money. When they're installing the stuff to the ship, there's the one-off line with C-3PO, and then that's when Darth Maul or some goons show up
Yeah,
and they
force
start
him off the
fighting
planet,
and force him off the planet.
And that's when
And
Anakin
Anakin-
also stows away and does...
Anakin makes the decision that this life is not worth it here. I need to go.
Yeah.
Have a scene earlier where him and his mother have a heart-to-heart, and it's essentially his mother telling him if he needs to go. They have some sort of scene where they somehow he doesn't explode essentially, and that's he's gonna be like, thanks Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's gonna be like, I didn't do it.
I could see, if I can interject, just like whatever the trigger is or something, a way that blows up and maybe something he dies or he's wanted along with the group, and then it's like, I gotta get out of here. I can't say.
Oh
bye.
yeah, no, you
Like
could do
that.
it too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
have
okay, well I'm
have-
free. I
have
gotta.
what's his name die.
Watto.
Watto.
Oh, you can't kill.
Watto's the master, though.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, I
He's
get
like,
what you're saying. Yeah.
he's like implicated with them, so they
But fans want Watto.
Stop.
slightly racist.
Which, if that happens, we have to keep that in
anti-Semitic.
mind for episode 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, as you were saying, so they
Anyway.
escape. Anakin saves himself.
Anakin doesn't explode. They break. They go to Coruscant. They have a nice little powwow there. Padme shows her nice PowerPoint presentation of people dying. They show up. They show up to the council and they're like, "All right, we'll think about it with this kid. Leave him here." Obi-Wan and Anakin are like, "Screw that. We need to go help Qui-Gon." And Obi-Wan's maybe ordered to go. I don't know. That's kind of just like a detail one. You can shoot 2 scenes and decide which one's better.
Yeah.
They go back to Naboo. While they're at Naboo, this is the part that I'm a little cloudier on. But before they get back to Naboo, Qui-Gon is doing stuff where he's like
He's
finding out-
unraveling the mystery of the Sith.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
all
That's the
type of stuff.
exact.
Jar Jar's translating. He's
Yeah.
working with the Gungans, working
He's-
with the Naboo, building
he's
relations, all that fun
Fight
stuff.
guerrilla warfare, fighting off droids, this, that, and the other. They show up, and then the movie kind of continues as it did. Where,
And I do want to
Go ahead.
Point out the one thing that I think, I mean, Noah had a lot of good points, but my favorite one is when you said, like, when Qui-Gon does the whole, I fought with you, now we need to come together.
Yeah.
Like, that has to definitely be, like, a staple point in the movie.
Yeah.
and then
show
it's-
his wisdom.
Yeah, no, it's essentially show his wisdom instead of tell that he's wise. Throughout the entire movie, Obi-Wan has to be
building up
like,
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon is amazing, he is great, I love him, mwah, mwah, mwah. Big ol' kissy on the tushy. Anyway, they get there, they fight. Instead of drawing the troops away, because that just seems like a dumb thing to do.
It's easier to have the two
Honestly,
battles.
if you were the droid people, you could just be like, all right, they can go stand in the field over there. We'll stay here.
That's not bothering us any.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why is this?
They're
why-
cutting off our resources.
You mean the ones that land? from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sky? Anyway, so yeah, they siege the city. They take it. The plot is that there's more reinforcements coming in, so they send out all the pilots. Anakin's like, I can fly something, and they're like, no, you can't. And then I don't know, someone gets shot, and they're like, yes, it's you now.
This is your moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and he takes, he shoots his shot up there.
Yeah.
And then pretty much the movie happens as
Yeah.
it did, where everybody's happy.
Qui-Gon dies.
Yeah, Qui-Gon dies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really like that.
Do you still have the
Yeah.
same like the peace scene, like the peace between the Naboo and the
I
Gungans,
think
like
you make
uniting?
it, you make it a little bit darker in the fact that like have it happen in the city. There's battle just happened. Everybody is kind of war torn, and that they have the handshake. They like
Yeah.
meet up in the
So you
middle.
still
and they
have
hand-
it
and they shake their hands.
to
Yeah.
honor Qui-Gon.
Just a
And
kiss
then-
on the lips between like
Exactly.
Boss
like,
Cass and Padme.
Yeah,
like,
they're
oh.
married now. We're good. Anyway, Okay, now we're back.
So here's the thing. I think our revisions are gonna carry through into this one.
Yeah.
We're not just gonna like take the original
yeah.
episode
Oh yeah.
one.
That was the whole idea of doing it as a
The
series.
thing is, we didn't change a ton.
No,
Like,
we
it wasn't
changed a
dramatic
lot of
change.
character
I
development.
I
stuff.
think that's a good thing. I think we are staying true to the movie in a sense, and
We're trying to.
yeah.
Yeah. What was that again, Noah? Sorry, you
You
kind of
broke
cut
up.
out.
No,
for a
we're
second,
we're
yeah.
just like we're trying to stay true to these movies because like honestly, we're very passionate about Star Wars. Like we all love Star Wars and we want to. These are just our opinions and our changes that we would like to do.
If we were given a shot to have done the prequels, this is what we would have done.
Honestly,
I mean,
I think
now that
what
we've
we
already
what we-
seen what they've
just
done.
just,
Yeah.
just gloating on ourselves real quick. I think what we did for episode 1 would honestly make a better movie.
Oh yeah.
I think
Who knows? It may show up as its own movie in a completely different, unrelated.
Good
sci-fi
job, guys.
franchise
Pat ourselves on the back. We did.
yeah.
Pay us royalties.
yeah, here we are.
Anyways, so yeah, so now that you've heard the recap, if you want to and you haven't heard the previous episode, go ahead and go listen to it now and then come back to this. Let's go ahead and get started with episode 2. So
I can't think of how episode 2 opens.
it opens with the opening crawl, like all Star Wars, and then it goes into, you see the ship
Coruscant.
flying
Dies.
into Coruscant, and then
Oh,
the ship
the
is
ship
attacked and
explodes.
explodes.
It's the assassination of Padme.
Yeah. The attempted assassination of Padme.
What, you spoiled it.
So, do we want to keep with that opening?
Where does it go
can
after
somebody
there?
explain to me the plot of episode 2?
I don't know.
So
It doesn't
I'm
make
going
sense.
to try.
Read the IMDb again, but we'll keep going.
So here is the IMDb of the plot of episode 2. 10 years after initially meeting, Anakin Skywalker shares a forbidden romance with Padme Amidala while Obi-Wan Kenobi investigates an assassination attempt on the senator and discovers a secret clone army crafted for the Jedi. Now, that right there, I can agree with. I'm fine with that overall plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
think we can
done
still keep that.
so poorly in the movie, though.
Episode 2, I will say this. Episode 2 is my least favorite Star Wars movie.
Agreed.
I think.
Yes.
I would
So,
think.
here's the
Used to
thing.
be episode 1, but then I thought about it and I was like, episode 2.
Here's the thing. I think there needs to be okay. So, if you want to have the same opening scene where ship comes in and blows up, neat, cool. I don't really care. I just think there needs to be some exposition on like, why are we trying to kill her? Why was she almost killed? It
So you
just
kind of want to
seemed
give like a hint of.
it just seemed dumb when I was young. It just seemed like
There's no reason that they targeted Padme as the senator, really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Unless
she's
of
out-
course,
because she's outspoken more.
it might be
She's a
because
thought leader
you know
in the whole thing.
because the Emperor is pulling the strings. He might be targeting Padme because he knows how Anakin feels, but that wouldn't make sense given how the rest of the movie plays out because they haven't seen each other in 10 years. So
I mean, you could look at it if Palpatine really knew about Anakin, like deeply knew about Anakin, he could set this up, and if he successfully killed her, then he could be like, Anakin's gonna have some rage, and I can turn him to the dark side.
Mhm.
but that's not hinted at. That's not anything. It
And-
just seems weird.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
also taking into account our if that was the reasoning that we were going for, and we try to set it up that way, playing off of what we changed in episode 1, you don't really get a whole lot of connection between Palpatine and Anakin at all.
I think you need to set that up in this movie then.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, or what I was thinking. Like, I think you
Yep.
need to introduce Anakin to Palpatine in this movie. Palpatine senses it, and then
You know what you could
that's
do?
how everything kind of unravels. Like,
You know what-
this is
Yeah.
the beginning
I got
of
an
what
idea.
happens in episode 3.
I got an idea.
Go.
Some sort of scene either before post-explosion, pre-explosion, probably post-explosion, where Anakin doesn't know that she's there, goes to Palpatine again, is like, is she here yet? Do you know she's is she coming? Like, like give him some sort of relationship that's like,
Yeah.
Anakin would go to him and be like, hey, friend,
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
Yeah,
like
because,
that,
yeah,
but
they-
then it's also the, like, I don't know if that would make sense because Anakin and Obi-Wan
Haven't
come
they
to
been
be
gone
the
a while?
Jedi Guard. Huh?
Haven't they been gone a while?
Yeah, they've been gone. Like, they're called back to be her guard after this incident
Yeah,
happens.
they basically
in
said
the
like they
existing
just
movie.
got
We can
back.
change that. We can switch that up. But
I'd be okay with kind of like Grant was saying, maybe Anakin goes up to Palpatine and he's like, oh, you get like, you're bigger every time I see you. Or like, oh, hey, like some good vibe. Like,
Yeah.
or how
there-
and Palpatine can just be like, how is some one-off name planet? And he could be like, it was
Yeah.
Sandy.
so like they've just
It was handy.
I hate sand.
No, but like he can just have like a
That's
little bit
everywhere.
exposition, and then Palpatine could be like, "Did you know Senator Amidala is coming?"
I like that. So like he kind of knows.
Oh, I'm gonna just a second. Listen to it. Intro is Anakin and Obi-Wan flying into Coruscant in the most beat up piece of crap
Yes.
ship ever, and they're gonna show up, land, and there's gonna be somebody who's like, "What happened to your ship?" And they'll be like, we left half of it, we left half of it in this galaxy and the other half in this.
And that could be really cool too, because then in episode 3, when the whole thing happens with that ship and they land, Obi-Wan's like, "Why do we have a knack for doing this?"
Yeah, and you're
So,
like- No, I think we switch it to them coming in. What do you guys think about that?
I kind of like
I like
that,
that
coming out of hyperdrive.
Yeah.
So like
That
you,
starts
you
it off
don't you
more
don't have to
exciting, too.
know what happened. You just kind of see Naboo and then just
No, not Naboo.
or not Naboo. What am I talking about?
Coruscant.
Either way, just out of hyperdrive and then immediate. It's just kind of like the planet, the scroll, and then just immediate. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're in this. Oh my gosh, there's no brakes, even though that does make sense. But like
Yeah,
we're burning up kind of deal.
Yeah.
I want to hear what Noah has to say about this. You got your.
You're the only one that was kind of hesitant on the idea.
I'm honestly just trying to think how we want to set up the rest of the movie, because I feel like the setup for episode 1 was easy for us because we wanted to see the same things kind of play out, just tweak them differently.
Yeah.
The problem with 2 is that the setup and the rest of the movie don't have really any connection in the way that it actually plays out in the movie itself. And there's just a lot of things that happen in 2 that are very disconnected from each other.
Is it okay if we just kind of ran through some of the things and like whether or not we
Yeah,
liked them?
Yeah,
in
we
the
can
first
do a
place
quick
or not?
recap of episode 2.
Can we get like actually a scene by scene? Like, can you pull something up? Like a
Well, so
Like something
what
more.
happens is they protect Padme, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, it was
The
this
dart.
bounty hunter,
Yeah, the
Jango
Zam
Fett."
shade.
So so Obi-Wan goes and investigates that, and they're like,
and Padme
Anakin,
goes
you're
back
gonna
to
go
Naboo with
with
Anakin.
Yeah, you're gonna go back to Naboo. You're gonna protect her there. So while they're there, they kind of like flirt a little bit, but it's awkward and poorly written and poorly acted. And then so he gets nightmares of his mom dying. So then they go to Tatooine. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan's on Camino.
Camino,
He
yeah.
finds the clone army. He finds Jango Fett. Follows Jango Fett to Geonosis. And then
Darth
while
Maul.
they're on Tatooine
Darth Maul.
and Anakin is watching his mom die, and he kills all the, not just the men, but the women and the children.
Two.
Obi-Wan
dogs.
is on Geonosis, and he meets Count Dooku, and then Count Dooku's like, hey,
captured.
the Sith is in charge now. And he's like, what? You're lying to me. And he's like, I don't know, maybe not. And then he like sends out a distress signal, and then Anakin's like, oh, okay, I'll come help him out. And then they go and they get captured, and then there's the kind of cool but like stupid still scene on Geonosis with the animals, and then
I
all the
really
Jedi
loved
show
that
up,
as
and
a
it's
kid.
a bunch of CGI and ridiculous, but it's still kind of cool because it's a lot of lightsabers.
So I want you,
Django
I want
gets
you to
his head cut
finish,
off
but
then.
keep going. I want to say something about that.
Yeah, and then the clone army also shows up after there is a. So basically, they're like while they're on Geonosis, there's like 3 like.
Huge things that happen.
Well, there's 3, I would say, like ex machinas of like Obi-Wan's in trouble, Anakin shows up, that's an ex machina. Obi-Wan and Anakin are in trouble, the Jedi show up, that's an ex machina. And then the last ex machina is the clones show up, and then there's a giant cluster F of lights and CGI and whatnot, and
And then the Clone
it's
Wars
cool,
begin.
but it's also really ridiculous because it's all CGI and it's crazy. And then they fight Dooku, and Anakin gets his arm chopped off, and then Yoda does some flips, and then that's the end of the movie.
I would agree with that.
Do you
I
guys-
can't,
do
I
you
can't
guys-
think of anything else that happens at the end
that
of the
jog your
movie.
memory.
That's the part of the movie I remember, if that means anything, because
Yeah.
that's the part that I like.
So here's my thought then. Do you
Bring your
think
mic a little bit closer to you. Thank you.
Do you think that opening up with okay, so you want to say the direction, like big overarching plot points? I think overarching plot points we make Anakin seem more actually interested in Padme, and not in a like super direct way, but in like a he asks people about her.
Yeah.
Like he like this, that, and the other.
Which we didn't really address that in the first episode, but obviously that would still like. I mean, it's,
That's what we were
you still
saying
get
still
some
would
of the
happen in
same stuff
Tatooine,
that what
yeah.
happens as Anakin builds that fatuation for.
So I don't know.
Padme as
I think in general things are gonna happen the same.
we just got to do the
except
same thing
I
where
think-
we develop a
I
little bit more
think
character
the-
development and
More character development. I
disjointedness.
think we have to cut back on the Deus Ex Machina stuff.
I think so. There obviously needs to be the romance well written and deserved in episode 2.
They get
between
married in
Padme
like
and Anakin.
like a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, after seeing each other for 10 years. Like, that's dumb.
Cut that back. We're cutting that back
After not
to
seeing
like
each other.
5 years because he's like 14, so now he's gonna be 19 and she's gonna be like 26ish.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting because like, yeah.
I think
That
that's
also
I think that's a stupid.
so one of my biggest complaints with the Star Wars franchise as a whole is it just seems like each generation of Jedi takes less training to be a good Jedi.
Yes,
So I
yes.
like that
Yeah.
idea of making it not be a full freaking 10 to 15 years for Anakin to become a Jedi. Like I
No.
like the idea of
I
him
think
having a shorter training time period,
I
especially with considering how powerful with the Force he is. Like
Yeah.
it just makes sense.
I just think you cut back because the ages don't make sense otherwise.
Yeah.
Just purely for that.
I agree with that.
And like
Hmm.
we're either gonna make Anakin creepy and he's gonna have like newspaper clippings of all of like Amidala's like work.
I think that there can be, to an extent, an unhealthy obsession, but I think that it's not going to be like stalker-ish. It'll just be like, oh, that's kind of weird for a Jedi to be acting like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if you kind of gave him that internal struggle where like, you know, he has these feelings but he knows better, and like so it's not as confusing teenage hormones. Like he has his wits about him to know like this is not the Jedi way, but I can't help but
Obi-Wan
feel this way for her. Like
Yeah.
and I think it'd be interesting too if you also had this, which by the way, something you mentioned between recordings that I think we should mention in the recording. We'll get to that in just a second. But what I think it'd be good for Obi-Wan to recognize this in Anakin and try to help him through it the best that he can,
Yeah.
and helping him make the right decision. Like because and that shows a little bit less, I guess. Yeah, like that shows more of like a sympathetic side to Obi-Wan, I think, that you don't get otherwise. In that, like, you know, hey, and it's also canon. Like when you look at the cartoon series, the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan had his own little fling back in the days with the lady who was in charge of Mandalore or whatever. That is actual canon. So like he kind of has an understanding. He's gone through this before, and you don't have to make that relevant in this episode necessarily, but like,
But give him a kid.
yeah,
Name
the
it
girl's
Rey.
name is Rey.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But no, I think like I don't know, how do you guys feel about that? Like Obi-Wan recognizes this and Anakin's like struggling with it, and so he's fighting it, but like
Kind
does
of.
that, I mean he kind of already does that, but it's you focus more on the like he's leaning toward like the whole movie he's leaning towards making the decision to not get romantically involved because he knows that's the right thing to do. It's just like everything bursts at the end of the movie and then he flip-flops. So like you get rid of the creepy stalker-ish aspect to him. He can still like that romance can kind of develop, but I think it could be more underlining versus
What if
like
just
in
a second.
your face, if that makes
what
any
if
sense.
what if their marriage is at the end of the movie?
Well, it is at the end of
It
the
is at the
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but,
it
like,
is. It's like the last scene is them getting married on Naboo.
They kiss.
Okay, I
they
totally
look into
forgot.
the distance.
I totally forgot about
Credits
that. I
roll.
thought it happened earlier.
I
when
think they eloped actually.
when they,
actually got married.
when they creepily like rolled through the dandelions. I thought that was when they got married.
No, that was. Oh,
That's
that's
a cultural
gosh,
thing.
that scene is stupid.
I was kind of what Jonathan was saying, but like, I think it'd be okay if when they see each other the first time in the movie, it's been a little bit, but they had give some implication that they had spent time together
Yeah,
after the
he could be like-
first
Yeah.
episode,
That'd be interesting.
so that when they see each other, it's been like a long time, as in maybe a year or two.
but it's not like they haven't ever.
But
seen
it's like
each
they
other for
they
5
spent
years.
time together earlier before, and whether that's some
I got an
you get
idea.
some flashback or just some like dialogue of like,
Oh, there's
hey, haven't seen you since the Tarkin Pass or blah blah blah. And they're like just some chuckle or something
No,
like.
you could be
gosh,
like
yeah.
Obi-Wan could be like, "Yeah, we've been assigned to like after so okay in my movie it opens up with Anakin and Obi-Wan dicking
Making
around,
out.
landing a ship,
I like that.
and then
idea, to be
they
honest.
they land it. He
They get
shows
back
up-
from a mission, yeah.
Yeah, they get back from a mission. They show up to Palpatine, and he's like, "Hey, Palpatine, how you doing, bro? Ski, let's
Ooh,
Saturday,
laugh
Sundays
track.
with the boys, kind of like go ahead, Jonathan.
idea. So they have their whole exciting thing. They land. You get a little bit of like dynamic that you get in episode 2 and 3 already between them as they're like, walking away from the crash landing or blah, 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 blah. Then some sort of random explosion goes off and it's close to them. And they're like, oh my gosh, what is this?
What is that? No,
and then they go rush and they realize it was
Just like-
Padme's ship.
Just like, no. Rewind for a second. Okay, maybe. Here's my thought: is they say the thing of like, so Palpatine's like, oh, did you know that Senator Amidala is coming back today? And then Obi-Wan could be there and be like about to leave and be like, yes, when you're not on missions or training, you spend time in the Naboo the Naboo whatever place. And Anakin can be like, no, that's because my droid's there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then it could,
C-3PO
and then
or
there can be like a boom, and then they could be like, what landing pad was she coming into? Landing pad 3. What like where was the explosion? Landing pad 3. Not exactly that
Yeah,
line,
yeah,
but you know
but
what I mean?
something
Like,
that.
Like some sort of they realize that, oh crap, that's Padme.
That was
you
for
know, like,
landing
what
pad.
direction? What direction? Where did that explosion come from? Landing pad 3. Where was she landing?
Yeah.
I'd also be
We
fine.
need to go. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
I was just gonna say, I think like the ideas for the beginning are pretty good, and like starting with that. Another thing I felt like was kind of slow was the whole like Zam chase thing, and so kind of like moving on from there. I don't know.
That's
I don't
kind
have
of-
any ideas, but like if you
Make it
just
happen now.
made that
I
happen
was thinking
faster
that.
It's
or
not
make another
necessary,
attempt.
No,
that
what if,
just-
If Django is the one, Django Fett is the one that was good. Like, I don't understand this in this movie. Django Fett is the one hired to do the job, so he hires Zam to do the job, and then Zam pawns it off on some slugs to kill Padme
Yeah, exactly.
when she's
It's like-
sleeping. Like, what? No, Django, you're the bounty hunter. You do it.
Yeah, I think what if so like they land, maybe you kind of have a little bit of like you cutaways between the banter between Obi-Wan and Anakin as they're returning to like Django setting something up or something like that, and you
Not
don't
even-
see
not
anything
even that.
happen, but like you're kind of
You don't have to
foreshadowing.
see that.
You know?
What
Okay.
what if this happens? We jump right from the explosion to literally Obi-Wan and Anakin like rushing into the scene and being like, what happened? And Obi-Wan's like, we gotta help the people. And Anakin's like, we need to kill the person who did that. And then that's when he forces out, uses the Force. That's not how the Force works. And he figures out that it's like, it's that one up there.
He can sense, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he
Ooh,
jumps.
that's
He
interesting.
jumps
Okay.
in the ship, and then that's when that scene happens. You know what I
Okay.
mean? That they go a little bit through the red light district. They go around, and that's when
Yeah.
they
So
crash.
this all happens at night.
Make it happen faster. No, the red light district is like 300,
Oh, yeah, yeah, you're
1,300
right, yeah.
like stories down.
Yeah.
Like it's just dark down there.
Yeah.
Just like make kind of that happen, then, and then move forward to Anakin. Anakin's the one that captures the girl, and then she gets shot, and then that's when Anakin picks up the dart and is like, and that's when he hands it off to Obi-Wan. This is all happening in like the first 30 minutes.
I like the chase scene, and you get to again see more of Anakin's piloting skills. Here's what this movie needs to accomplish, though. This movie needs to set up
toys.
It needs to show off again more of the Obi-Wan Anakin dynamic that needs to continue to grow, because that's a big part of episode 3. You also need to show the dynamic between Padme and Anakin, and you need to show the dynamic between Anakin and Palpatine.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
All three of those need to happen whilst a clone army is also being built, because that the Clone Wars need to happen. That needs to be a big deal. I don't know if we either have the clones maybe happen a little bit earlier, like the clones were already built because the Trade Federation and other systems are leaving the Republic. So maybe the wars are already happening.
Okay,
I think that takes away from 3.
Could I interject? I think what if you had the initial attempt on Padme's life, then Obi-Wan already goes off and starts doing whatever something. You'd have to really focus on like him and Anakin at the start then, but like kicking him out, and then keep Padme and Anakin on Coruscant. So you could
they still have the B story where he goes to Camino.
Yeah, get a little more like maybe another attempt on her life, just a way to like build them together without rolling in the dandelions kind of deal. And then a little more dialogue between him and Palpatine, and then off like, okay, the situation's too critical, let's go to Naboo if they have to.
Okay, guys. Literally, we don't have to roll in the dandelions. We could just do something along the lines of like, I'm guarding.
They go get ice cream.
No, I'm guarding you, and he's like, I'll be right outside your room, and she could be like, no, stay in my room.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
like not exactly that, but just like have them.
She wants to
have
build
them,
that friendship. Like she's kind of the one egging it on a little bit. Or are you kind of getting at that?
What I was actually gonna say was they could sit and have exposition and actually have lines that aren't dumb and aren't in a weird forced situation.
I like that idea.
Of like stay in my room and talk. I was just about killed, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I also think that gets rid of. Sorry to interrupt you, but just really quick, I think that gets rid of like one thing that kind of bugged me, and it kind of made sense. But like this whole like kind of animosity that Padme and Anakin have at first, that then kind of melts away. Like this whole thing where she's like, "Oh, he's not a Jedi yet." Blah 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 blah. He's just my security guard. And then
that's
gets
just
upset
poor
about
acting
that.
and poor writing.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like that poor writing part of it. Like, I don't know. Do you cut that out entirely and you just make them more like romantic interests?
Yeah, you make them more romantic interests, but you also make it like a Stranger Things. They fought those the
Demogorgon?
Demogorgons, and then they were scared, and they had to sleep in the same room. Kind of like that, except they're not scared. Just kind of they need that camaraderie. She could be like, I'm always alone. On trade missions, I'm I'm only here with my.
They could go to Hoth, and she's just too cold.
Exactly. No, what I was gonna say earlier was you could have the kind of the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan be a little bit more, just a little bit different or more profound. I'm not sure. What do you think about this? Obi-Wan's the one that sends Anakin. Anakin's like, he's over there, and Obi-Wan's like, go. And so Anakin's the one. Yeah, Anakin's the one that jumps in the thing. Then later, you could have them being like reprimanded, and they could be like, "Why did you send your Padawan after this killer?" And that can be because Obi-Wan
and
trusts
Mace Windu
him.
can be the one that says that. So that kind of builds up that.
And Obi-Wan can be like, more or less defend him and be like, he's strong enough.
I trust him.
I trust kind of like that. Like
he's my go-to. Like
I think that with that, you also still should show off a little bit of Anakin's cockiness. Like not just like he's like just doing what his master says, but like he's like, and I'm gonna do it right because I'm the best. Like I think that you can show off that cockiness too with that.
I think that I was just gonna add trying to add another layer of like conversation.
Yeah,
and so it's just like Obi-Wan's willing to send him out to do things.
Yeah. So just really quick, I want to figure this out. We established they crash land, they hear that explosion, they figure out what's going on, then they go say Padme.
Not exactly crash land, but
is that what we
essentially,
established?
They just
at the
got
beginning?
back from a harrowing, like it was a stressful mission.
Yeah, like the
so we did establish what we were talking about earlier. That is our intro, right?
Like they land and like they're like, we got here in one piece, didn't we? And then the guy's like, well, like in like the left panel, like the entire wing of the aircraft just falls off. Like just like
Yeah.
Not quite One Piece. Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to establish that was our beginning. So then we
Mostly
cut out a
One
whole
Piece.
lot of a whole chunk.
And
of
Obi-Wan
stuff.
can be like, and this is why I hate your flying or something. Okay,
So-
so like, yeah, you can say like, I hate your flying, and then they have that explosion. They go, they're like, was it Padme's ship?
Yeah, they logic that out somehow.
Yeah, because
because writing actually is a thing. Anyway, we
and
move.
then they're like, hey, go take care of that Anakin while I help the injured.
Yeah, and
make
he's
sure that everybody's okay.
and he's
He goes,
cocky.
There's the chase.
So
and
we're still
then-
okay with the whole Obi-Wan goes to not Coruscant.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet, but I think we're gonna do that.
Because like
yes,
I'm okay with
See,
that.
this is
yeah, I
interesting.
think
Here's
that's important.
Here's my comment. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I think we make Obi-Wan going to Kamino not an approved Jedi mission. That's why he leaves Anakin and
To help-
and
Ooh,
her
ooh.
on
They,
Naboo.
Yeah, he implies that they're both gonna go guard her on Naboo, but then like Obi-Wan's like, "There's something behind this. I've got to go chase this."
Yeah.
I feel like
lead."
that kind of breaks his character, though. Not that we couldn't do
Does
that,
it?
but he follows the rules. a lot.
It does a little bit. It should be a sanctioned thing because Obi-Wan's not the reckless one. Like, yeah,
True.
He'll be a little bit like he is. Obi-Wan is a little
I think that's like
cocky,
the cool
but he's
part
not
about
cocky
him
enough
is like
to
when
be
he
rebellious.
does not break, but like bend
Okay.
things. That's when it's like
he's willing to bend. Yeah.
But like
Yeah,
most
he's
of the
not
time
quite
he doesn't.
Captain America, but he's a little bit more rebellious. than that.
Ant-Man.
Okay, so then we make it so they
But
make
it could be like a quiet shush Jedi thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they could do that where
Like
they,
Yoda and Mace Windu tell him on their own.
pull him off
like,
to the
"Hey,
side and
council's
say
decided.
I don't. Okay, so
That's too shady to like enter into the Jedi Council yet.
True.
I think that they. I think that- go ahead.
I think that him going to Camino, the problem I have with the clone army is, one, they use a bounty hunter that they know is working with the Sith, and they're like, that's fine. Like, this is a clone army based on this bounty hunter, and we know that the Sith were in leagues with this bounty hunter. But yeah, that's fine.
No,
Like,
they
wait,
don't
wait,
know.
are you-
They don't. Hey,
they know
they
that's
don't.
the Trade Federation.
They
'Cause
don't. Yeah.
The Jedi are the only one that are knowledgeable about the Sith threat right now.
Yeah,
Like, the
but,
rest of the galaxy's
still,
concerned
like,
with
they
the trade
see
stuff.
this guy who is a known bounty hunter who is
Yeah.
working with frickin' Dooku, and they're like,
How do they know he's
fine.
working with Dooku though?
they see him together on Geonosis. They're literally standing right
Okay.
there when they're getting.
But
like,
that's way
strung up.
later.
Did they know?
We're-
that
we're
he
for-
was
we're
there?
for-
I know. But like, this is what I'm explaining. I'm saying
Okay.
when he goes to Camino, it should be because the Republic wants an army, not because the army was made for them secretly, and they're like, oh, it's for in secret. I guess this is not shady and
Okay.
sketchy at all.
So back it up here for just a second here. In the
That's
current
what
movie,
I'm just thinking ahead.
Yeah,
thinking
no,
ahead.
yeah, no, I agree with you. The current movie, Master Sifo-Dyas, whoever the crap that is, decided to go set something. He was a Jedi who just decided to go enlist the Caminos to,
I mean,
make a clone army.
I'm
for the
pretty sure he
Republic.
had to do with Palpatine, and Palpatine wanted the army.
Yeah.
So Palpatine used the banking clan, which had relation to his previous master.
Yeah.
Used them to fund the initial army,
Yeah.
and then was like, they're going to be the Republic's army, and we're going to need them in a few years. Like,
Yeah,
they're- like
I thought that was part of it too. That it's like somebody, like it was set up to be like, oh, the Emperor's whatever army, and then when the Jedi found out, it was like, oh crap. Okay, well you can have him, and we'll just have
So, well,
to turn
then,
on.
like, so that's the problem with that is that no, the Republic shouldn't be cool with that. Like, the Republic shouldn't be like, this was done sketchy and like super underhanded, and
So it's not the
like not
it's-
above the law at all.
it's
Like,
not the
this is not
Republic
okay.
that's like that. It's the Jedi that are like,
They both should be though. The
Yeah, they
Republic,
both should be,
because
but-
it's illegal, the Republic should not be okay with that. So I'm saying for our version of the movie, it should be that either this was already something that they've been working on, or this is something that they're just now doing, and
Okay,
they're like,
how
hey,
about
go
this?
take care of this.
So if
How about
someone
this?
hands you the Ace
Obi-
of Spades under the table, are you still gonna play it? I mean, I would play it.
Here's what I look at it as. Maybe Obi-Wan shows up and he's like, "Hi, I'm here to look at your bounty hunter because I have this,
Oh!
I have the dart."
Okay, yeah, because so they know that this whole thing is going down. Maybe it happened sometime between episodes 1 and 2. They're
Who's
enlisting.
they?
the Jedi. Like they know
Oh,
that
okay.
this thing is happening. The clones are happening. They know where it's at Camino.
What? No.
That
No, that's not where I was going. What I was going was this. He shows up with the little dart. Not actually, but that's the reason he's there.
Yeah.
He shows up and he's like, "Let me meet your bounty hunter." And they're like, "Oh, the bounty hunter, Master Jedi. You're here for this. We have the test batch of the. We have the first test
Ooh,
batch of the
interesting.
clones
Okay. Yeah.
ready." And he's like, "What?" and that's when
isn't that
he
what
goes.
you do?
No, he goes back. I know you don't like it, but what if he goes back and he's like, "There's these clones that I don't know. I don't like it either. It's
But
just
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't
So,
make sense.
This is, I think, where we're going to have to break from what we currently have more than we probably will for the rest of the reworking of the prequels, because
There's
like,
no way to
there's
grow
no
a
way
clone
to
army in
reason
like
it.
10 days.
Yeah, exactly. So there's got to be some sort of
They could have
thing.
they could show up. They could like, "Oh, you want to look at our bounty hunter? Here's our bounty hunter. Oh, and by the way, we've been raising clones of him as for an army. Well, do you want to buy him?"
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So like somebody has already enlisted the creation of this, but then like the Republic's like, no, we can't have that. So they swipe in and take it.
No.
No.
No, it's just these are clone makers, and they just are making these clones, and they're like, "Hey, we're selling these." I'm fine with that. I'm fine with saying
I don't like.
we're selling these clones.
I think that solves the problem, but also it makes the clones just seem really cheap.
So then, this is what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to say, "Hey,
Make 'em
we want to make clones. It doesn't have to be based on Jango. They can just be clones of whoever the heck we decide to have it. It doesn't have to be Jango Fett. They can just be clones."
At the same time, I see no reason.
Here-
I see no reason to not have it based off of Jango.
Yeah.
Also, like,
So
why not base it off the most deadly bounty hunter in the galaxy?
Yeah, the one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So really quick, just to take a step back into what we currently have, the way that this ends up, I think we have to figure out some way how they discover to go to Camino, because in the current movie, Obi-Wan does his research, finds out information about this dart, goes to his friend who owns the diner.
convoluted.
Yeah, no, I'm just working through it so we can fit. I'm bear with me for a
know,
second because
I
I'm working
know.
through it so we can figure out where we need to change things. He goes to the diner guy. The diner says, "Oh, this is the Camino thing. I've never heard of that system." They go, "It doesn't exist," because she's a weirdo. And then they figure out, well, the planet's missing, and then he decides to go investigate, and that's how he ends up at Camino.
It's convoluted.
Yes, it's
So-
convoluted. How are we changing that so that we can
here's
make it
what we
better?
have so far. There was the assassination attempt. They find that I don't think that Zam is necessary. I think it should just be Jango that actually tries to follow through
escapes.
with this, and he escapes. And now Obi-Wan does use a tracking thing later in the movie.
Yeah.
So you can use that there right now. So like either Obi-Wan or Anakin throw this tracking thing on Jango as he leaves, and then they track him to Camino.
Yeah, I like that idea, because then that also that doesn't take away, because we were talking about how Anakin kind of gets reprimanded and then Obi-Wan gets kind of reprimanded, and that's when Obi-Wan sticks up for Anakin earlier.
What if you made Jango Fett less involved with the cloners, and so it was like a job's a job kind of deal, and then so he's going back there for either a job or for something else, and so not that the cloning operation is completely news to him, but like he doesn't know that they're making full scale army and all that. Like he just maybe has some ties. And so it's just like, so it's not like
So
he
Jango
knows
didn't
everything
know
either.
Why they were cloning him. He just knew that he was going to
Maybe
He
he
was
was
just
told
getting paid.
like, yeah, he
What
was like,
if-
he's getting paid.
I like that idea. That makes it less, I guess, like you were saying, convoluted.
Because otherwise, I don't have a huge problem with like how it is right now with like we're building the army for Master Sifo-Dyas kind of thing. Like I don't have a problem with that.
That still does present the issue though of like, why is everybody just okay with that?
Because
You know?
they're under the table cloners essentially. They're off the grid cloners.
Are they though? Because they're the best. They're literally the best cloning. So I don't feel like
But
that would be
nobody
shady
knew-
and under the table.
But nobody knew about them, and their data was deleted.
True. Yeah, I guess that's.
Nobody was
But
just like,
why,
yes,
though?
Camino, the cloner. Actually, that's what's his name knew they were cloners.
But okay, so
Yeah.
that's a problem I have with the movie. Like,
Mhm.
why? Why was it deleted? That doesn't make sense.
I still think it's because
'Cause
Palpatine
it
was
was
like trying to
it was
set it up.
no,
Yeah.
it had to be deleted by Master Jedi. It was deleted by Count Dooku.
Yeah,
That's
but
who
like
else
that
was
was
gonna
while
do it.
he was still a Jedi. So
Yeah.
again,
because
Doesn't
he
make
was
sense.
no, because he was
Okay,
still
well, you can-
he was still a Jedi for like a full like 5 years in between being a Jedi and becoming
What?
a Sith.
Screw with the movie and trying to explain what the movie is. What do we want to do with
True,
the
okay.
clones and get to
Um,
that?
I just wanted to revisit it so we knew what we had to do differently. So do you want them to be under the table cloners? Do you want them to not be under the table cloners? What makes
does
most
it-
sense in this sense?
I
of
don't
this
think it
universe?
makes sense for the Republic to go under the table. Like, why would they do that?
Okay,
Because
so then
it's-
why?
it's- I mean, it does
brings
show
about
that
more-
they're becoming-
but that brings about more questions than like,
I mean,
is necessary.
it does bring about that they are becoming more shady.
Yeah,
you could-
but
you
I
could
don't
show-
think that that's necessary.
I mean, you could show that the person in charge is doing more shady
Yeah,
and
the
shady
corruption.
deals.
Mm-hmm.
You would show that the corruption is becoming deeper, and then you could be like the Jedi are like, we have to bring this corruption to light. How do we do that? The only way is to expose the clone army.
Okay,
And so
so
they-
so then let's say that.
And they try to
let's just
expose.
say
they
that
try to
Palpatine put in that order like one of the first things he did when he was made Chancellor back in Episode 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This
I
was
like
like
that.
under the table. Yeah,
Just,
that's
you
fine.
could
Yeah,
just,
okay,
you could
let's
just be
do
like
that.
put in by a Republic representative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
instead
we're
of
like,
my,
what?
so you cut out Saifu Salty.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, I like that.
Perfect.
I'm okay
So
with that.
put in
That's
by a
great.
Republic representative, and everybody's then the Jedi are like, what? They've been raising an army essentially without
And
telling us.
It's good for the Jedi to be in the dark about that, but
Yeah.
the Republic knows, because then it's like
That's
it
Well,
builds
not-
tension there, but it's not
I mean-
like the whole galaxy is all of a sudden like, okay, well, if our Chancellor put in for this, he must have had a good reason, because that's part of like Palpatine's charisma.
Oh, that's
or
the thing.
whatever.
Not everybody in the Republic knew about it. I'm gonna say only Palpatine knew about it realistically.
Yeah,
And so they're gonna like you could be like the Jedi could be like, hey, we're gonna expose this and we're gonna tell we're gonna tell the world.
tell the galaxy.
Yeah, tell the galaxy. They're gonna tell the galaxy that the Republic has been building an army in secret. And when they go to do that, before they do that, the Republic votes the power to Palpatine, and that's when the Jedi are like, not that we're losing power, but one man is gaining too much power.
I don't think I
That's-
like where you're going with that. I don't think that we get to that point where we do in Episode 3 where it's like emergency powers to the Chancellor, but
No.
like they like he
No,
maybe
he
there's
gets
like
the
a little bit of
emergency powers in
controversy.
2.
Yeah.
You think he gets it? He does.
No,
Yeah.
he definitely does. Jar
Jar
Jar,
Jar
gives it to
does
him
it,
in
yeah.
2. But
Oh yeah, that's right.
Padme goes off and
thinking-
rolls in the daisies, and Jar Jar
So-
gives.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Gives him a-
we're getting a little bit too much politics in our main story of Anakin and Padme
Yeah.
have to have this.
Yeah, we need to
forbidden
return to what
romance.
you're talking about earlier about
All right.
how the dynamic between Obi-Wan and Anakin needs to be furthered. Dynamic between Padme and Anakin needs to intensify, and then dynamic
Yeah.
between Palpatine and Anakin.
So, put it like this: Obi-Wan finds them. Obi-Wan lets the Council know. The Council confronts Palpatine. Palpatine goes, "You have no authority to do anything to me." And then they vote, and he's like, "We have a special council tonight. We had a special council yesterday. I was voted emergency powers. I can create this clone army."
And you can kind of show
Yeah,
that
perfect.
a
That's
hint
Or
of
he
that.
could just-
yeah.
Perfect thing to say.
or he could
That's
just say
great.
he could just say it.
Yeah.
Yep,
You know,
that's all you have to do is be like, yeah, he just says that, and the Jedi are like shocked. They're like, you what?
yeah.
And like they had no clue.
The audience learns that with the Jedi, and
I
they're-
think
and they're
that's
like,
a
that's
good-
sketchy.
Yeah, yeah.
So then,
that's
we move on to is Obi. So I'm just gonna stick with Obi-Wan for a second.
Yeah.
Is Obi-Wan gonna follow Jango Fett out?
I think you keep that how it is. He goes to Camino,
Blast him.
finds out. Like I think you keep all that mystery stuff that how it is currently, how he not necessarily like the lead up to it. He just somehow in the fight at the beginning of the movie where they're chasing Jango, they get something that gives a hint to Camino. He goes there, finds out like it's not.
Yeah, how
a
about Jango?
secret.
How about Jango Fett isn't even there?
Yeah.
When he goes there, and then Jango Fett lands because he's gonna be checking in on the Emperor's army.
You mean
and then
the Federation?
No,
Or no, the Republic's.
the Republic's
Yeah.
army, and then that's when he's like, "Crap, there's a Jedi here. Gotta blast."
yeah. And then there's like a little that'd be interesting. Yeah, okay. So then
So like seriously, Jango Fett lands and leaves. Like he shows up.
He's like,
he
"Oh,
sees a
psych."
blue lightsaber and he's like,
maybe he's there to collect it.
Peace out.
Well, no, that wouldn't make sense. I was gonna say maybe he's there to collect his payment at that
He,
point, but I feel like they would have
he
paid him
can be in there to check in with like one of the like ministers of Camino, and then like they like see each other across the hallway, and then there's a chase scene.
yeah,
Like,
no, and then
oh,
then they
crap,
then they fly away.
Yeah.
All right, so that's so up until this point. Now we're gonna pause at Obi-Wan and
Going to Geonosis.
going to Geonosis. That's
Yeah,
where we're pausing
following
Obi-Wan.
Jango, yeah.
All right, so
the whole time that everything on Camino's happening. intercut with Naboo stuff? Is that what you were kind of going?
No,
towards?
Coruscant
No.
stuff, because we still have.
we're not going to Naboo yet.
Oh,
I don't think we even go to Naboo at all.
I don't think
Okay.
we should either.
I think we just dress her up in a nice dress. He takes her out to dinner. They talk. They do typical rom-com stuff. You know what I mean?
a
Like,
little less
other,
cheesy, but
yeah.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
you know,
yeah.
you just make it G
You
romance.
You can have them kiss on Coruscant and him be like, "I'm so sorry. It should be Anakin instead of Padme. I shouldn't
Yes.
have done that.
Yes.
Like because
Yeah.
that's not the Jedi way. He should be the one like I'm conflicted with this. Like I'm haunted. But I need to be a Jedi. Like this, I'm a Jedi first. I want to be with you, but I can't.
It's showing his conviction towards like, and that makes his flip on that towards the end of the movie more relevant then, because then it's like it's not something he's been pining for. It's like, oh, Anakin's actually compromising on something, kind of starting to go down that dark path.
I think the next so then that's so after that scene, that's when we go to Obi-Wan, not on Geonosis, that's when on Kamino. We go to Obi-Wan on Kamino.
Yeah.
Stuff happens there. Then the next scene is going back to Anakin and them, and that's when he has the night terrors.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Okay.
So that
I was
so
gonna
was-
ask, are we going to address his mom?
I think we do
I think we do, but we do it in a more
tasteful way.
a more Padme is their way.
Okay.
She sees the rage. She sees the anger.
Oh yeah, that would be a really cool scene.
She
if you
rides
see
with
the
him there.
rage. Yeah, if you see Anakin actually,
and she
do all
brings
this
him
stuff,
down. He kills a lot of them. He kills almost all of them.
Yeah.
Or whatever. If he kills all of them, he kills all of them. If he doesn't kill all of them, I don't care. I'm just saying she brings him down. She talks him down.
Yeah, so that reveals her to be like the comforting
Yeah.
element in Anakin's life.
Hey, the sun's getting really low.
Okay, so you're saying that when he has this nightmare, he's like, I know I need to protect you, but like my mother is this, and she's like, all right, I'm coming with you.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
what?
and that's the same thing that she does. She says, "Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to protect me wherever I'm at," and so she hops on a little ship
Well,
and goes.
Yeah, but it's more of like she's like, all right, she's in it with him. Like
Yeah, she's in it with him.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't just stay at the house. She goes and witnesses
Yes.
him killing all of the people and brings him down. Like
So then,
he,
how does he find his mom when they get to Tatooine? Is
I
it the
think
same
you still keep it
thing?
the same. You show up, and this is why I was saying, like, if Watto gets killed in episode 1, like we were talking about, then it kind of makes this a disconnect here. He goes back, finds out she's been freed from slavery. They go back, do the whole.
I don't
Owen,
think
Lars,
Watto needs to be killed. I think Watto could just be like point out the direction that they are.
Honestly, he could be killed, and she just gets a new.
You can just find
owner.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
That-
okay, yeah, I
too.
like that.
Or
So then
you
he's
could be-
got to somehow track her down.
He-
Still, does he
he
just
sh-
use the Force or
No, he just shows up somewhere and says, "Hey, do you know who my
like
mom
that's
is?
mine. Yeah,
It's
Shmi
been
Skywalker.
5 years."
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, shows up, asks around. Not like realistically, just do a silhouette frame of him talking to somebody, handing somebody money, and then they
Yeah.
show up at the Lars house.
What
raising your
if
hand.
what if? Hear me out. It's not the Tusken Raiders. He figures out that she has a new master. He shows up, finds the new master like beating on her and like abusing her because she's a slave, and he force chokes the crap out of him.
okay.
That ruins episode 4.
You're cutting out a lot of the Owen Lars stuff. Then
Yeah,
in
I
that
agree.
situation.
I agree.
I think that ruins too much of episode 4 of the Owen Lars being good people.
Okay.
I don't really have any problem with what's currently there. Then again, with Noah, your suggestion, I don't have a huge problem with that.
I don't
either.
Yeah, they're both really cool.
So it's
and
like,
really good.
I'd take one.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It just there's no setup then into episode 4.
That-
of
that's
who the
my only
Lars are.
hesitation,
Then
too.
Anakin.
Well, he can-
Luke is just, is just
Yeah.
with some random family.
That's fair. That's fair.
What if? Okay,
I think he still kills the Tusken Raiders. You can show in episode 1
Whether
that
or
he's
not
pissed
they
at
have
them
his
more.
mom.
yeah, I think so.
I think exactly.
Okay, just kind of playing off of both of your idea, like both things right now. Just hear me out on this. What if Owen Lars is also like a fellow slave to this guy, and so like this whole thing, like it's a dark side element, but something good ends up coming out of it, where he liberates all those people,
Well,
and like Owen and
That's good.
Shmi,
I
still
think
kind
Owen
of
gets
have
some
I think
sort
it
of
needs to
heroic
just,
thing.
I think it needs to be dark. I don't think it needs to be dark heroism. I think it needs to show that Anakin is willing to
straight up
kill
darkness.
things. Just willing
Yeah.
to kill. When he's enraged, he's willing to just
Okay.
do
so
evil.
That is what I just said that because I think it's difficult if it's the Tuscans that Padme would come along.
Yeah,
Unless
Yeah, because she's not as.
Here's no. Here's the thing. She in episode 1 she fought in a war.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
In
That's
episode
true.
1 we made her and
And
the
she's
Gungans.
in the actual episode 1. She also fought in the war. So I mean, she's
She
still
could
a
just-
fighter.
She
She
could just
can be
come
more-
to the scene after the
No,
fact
that's
and
the
be
thing.
like,
She could be like, I liberated my own planet. I'm going with you.
And maybe what,
Yeah.
what draws her to try and calm him down is that she sees that he's giving into the rage, and she knows based on previous conversations that we'd seen in the movie that he doesn't like that about himself. Like he's fully aware that he has a rage issue, like some sort of issue like that. And so like she
Yeah, when they were
understands
connecting
he
in the
doesn't like this
conversations, he
about
could've said that,
himself.
yeah.
So he doesn't. She
She's-
knows he doesn't like this about
that-
himself,
that
and so she
makes-
calms him down.
That makes her more of his muse, and that makes her not dying, but that makes him turning on her. If we still do that in
The loss
episode
of the
3,
muse.
Yeah, which we'll
all
figure out when we
more-
get there.
All more. That's you. If when a character turns against their muse, something is
Really
broken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. In that character. And I think that's a good way to do that. So I think she comes along, she goes to the camp with him.
Yeah.
Everything goes down like it normally does. She's just there and she calms him down.
I think
you
she's-
have
she's-
a bigger scene of him actually killing the Tusken Raiders versus just like him starting to cut him down.
I think you
Crossfade,
could have
and then
like
somebody's like, "Oh!"
I think you can have them. You can have a bigger scene of like them fighting and them shooting. But then after they're all dead, it shows Anakin like besides killing everybody that comes out, like somebody like comes out that's holding a kid and he just cuts her down and it's like show him like just killing indiscriminately.
Yeah, and
then
she's
that's
like,
when
Anakin,
she's like,
Anakin,
stop.
you gotta stop. Yeah,
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and like let the people flee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let whatever's
like that.
left run.
Yeah,
You know.
I like that.
And then that's when he finds his mom. And that's when she
and
dies.
so the whole Owen Lars thing is still intact. They bring him
Yes.
back, have the funeral. It's really sad, all this type of stuff. That brings us then back to
Obi-Wan's on
Obi-Wan's
Geonosis.
on Geonosis, and he's in trouble because
So
in
he
the current
followed
version,
Django there.
Yes. He followed Jengar there, and then he's like, oh, look, an entire robot army and a Sith Lord. Neat.
Yeah. introduced Count
Neat.
Dooku, exchanges between those guys.
Have an actual have a mini fight scene that's not just dumb, but like
Yeah.
have Count Dooku be like, out of respect for your master, my apprentice, I won't kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
what I
out
mean?
of
Like-
respect for my apprentice Qui-Gon, I will
Yeah.
not kill you.
And you kind of introduce like a little bit more of Count Dooku's swordsmanship skills before the last scene. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
before
he
gets
is a
destroyed in
master
episode 3.
fighter.
Yeah, no,
you
maybe-
He is
showcase
a
that.
master swordsman.
That's one thing I've always had an issue with is like your key villains in episodes 2 and 3 were Count Dooku and General Grievous, and they don't get a whole lot of like actual like display of power
Yeah, no.
that establishes them. It's just kind of like, oh, it's his reputation.
When we get to 3, we're definitely gonna have Grievous literally crush people's heads.
Yes, I agree.
Yes,
Okay.
Anyways,
yeah, Grievous
but
is gonna
that's in the
wreck
future. So, yeah. So I like that. So everything is kind of the normal. The question that I was getting to here, because in the current version, again, just to see if we need to change anything or whatnot, what happens is Padme is like, we got to go help
I got an idea.
Obi-Wan, and Anakin's like, no, we can't. The Jedi told us not to, and then that's when she delivers her line.
Since when are
You
you
gotta
following orders?
Yeah.
You gotta default. You've gotta. That's when she delivers her line of, "Well, you
Follow
gotta protect
me.
me wherever I go." So we're gonna go to Geonosis.
All right, here's my real quick idea. Obi-Wan is getting captured. He has a little devicey thing in his pocket that he hits a button, and that sends a recording of all the things that just happened and all the exposition that Count Dooku just did to the Jedi Council / to Anakin, and then that's what drives him there. Not like Obi-Wan like in a rainstorm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
that,
Like-
yeah,
Yeah,
it gives more
I agree.
context to it too.
I agree. I think that he can show off him like fighting Dooku and like the exposition to the Jedi Council to Anakin, and they'd be like, "Oh shoot, like the Sith are here. The Sith are like for legit here. Like we need to go send people that." And then like they
And
send the whole Jedi, and they send
Here's the
all
thing,
kids.
That would make the reveal so epic too, because like it's a mystery in episode 1 that like who all this type of stuff, and then Count Dooku's recording of him saying like the Sith are back. Like that statement
is sent. And here's the
Being
thing.
such a huge epic moment.
Here's the
I
thing.
think.
It's sent to Anakin and Padme. Padme, being Padme, forwards it onto the Republic.
Yeah.
And then the Republic comes to the Jedi and are like, now what are you going to do? We got the army.
Yeah. And so that would be cool because then you could kind of introduce another aspect of a little bit more character development for Mace Windu, who you could see was like against this whole thing. And then like when he realizes this, he kind of gets like, he comes to the conclusion that like, okay.
He could be like,
and he strikes up a deal with Palpatine and be like, okay, we don't like this, but we'll fight along with you on these conditions.
Essentially that they're the general staff.
Yeah. And so that's how, and then it's that build
I
up
think
and
I
then.
like that.
Then you cut to everything that goes on in Geonosis. I don't think that you have C-3PO and R2-D2 do their whole bit. I don't think you see. I think you still have the thing that you do with C-3PO, and that's how C-3PO kind of works his way into it. Is how it currently is. I just don't think they go out and do stuff, and I don't think that heads get swapped and he shoots Jedi. Like I
think
I've
that
never
no,
liked that.
I don't think that whole
Poor electrical engineering.
like assembly line scene should happen.
Cut that out too.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
100%.
I think you show up. Seriously, just make it. You can make it short and sweet. Of like Jango Fett shows up, Count Dooku shows up, or just Droidekas and some like guards or I don't know show up, and then they just like, Anakin's all out there fighting like crazy, and then or Count Dooku or Jango Fett's like ha, turn around, and they have Padme with a gun to her head.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that.
Yeah, he's like, all right.
You willing to sacrifice her life?
Because
kind
he
of thing.
knows. Because he knows Palpatine, and Palpatine knows.
Yeah.
So.
And so like, so you could have Jango Fett being like, no, like make a statement like, how are we going to stop the Jedi? How are you going to stop? Like, Count Dooku could be to Jango Fett. How are you going to stop the Jedi? And he could be like, I know his weakness. This, that, and the other. They fight. He puts a flamethrower to her temple.
Yeah.
Puts a bullet through her skull.
Yeah, no, and then that's how they're captured. Okay.
That
moves us to the arena. Right now, our stories had converged.
Yes. And I think it's very similar, but just a couple tweaks here and there.
Yeah. This is what I was going to say earlier. That Clone Wars landing scene with all the clones and everything, that is the reason we have Avatar. That is the reason we have good CGI. That was the most CGI entities ever at the time.
I also really like that scene.
It's just, you know what I mean? It's just,
The
I haven't
CGI
watched it in
isn't
a while,
it
but-
doesn't hold up completely. Episode 3 CGI definitely does though, but
Yeah.
2 is a little hit or miss.
that's the
But
thing.
if it hadn't had done it,
That's
then
what I'm
we
saying.
wouldn't have CG
exactly.
today.
Yeah, it was a huge step
that's
forward.
all I'm saying is I definitely say they look like a bunch of white potatoes marching through, but at the same time, like we needed to be there to get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. So I think then like it just kind of plays out the same like it normally does.
I think Count Dooku could be like, they have the fight that happens. I don't think Count Dooku should run as much as he does.
Yeah.
No. I think that when the fight happens at the arena, the
they should
Jedi
move up.
and the army show up at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's interesting. So you don't have the whole thing where Jedis are all the ones fighting and then they get cornered and encircled.
No,
you have
I
the,
think
like,
that they show up together and you
they
see
fly in.
the clones and the Jedi working together for the first time. And this
Yeah.
is like legit the start of the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And like they fight the CIS, the like
You could give a really interesting line to Mace Windu or Yoda earlier leading up to this too. It's like, I didn't want this to come to war, but I don't see another way out of it or something like that. Like that could be really cool.
I think I agree with that. I think what I was gonna say is I don't think Count Dooku runs. I think Mace Windu's up there and does hold his sword out and is like, "Let's go." But Jango Fett does kind of pew him, and they jump off the edge or just move back, and then it's Obi-Wan and Anakin who jump up.
Yeah.
to stop Dooku as
So
well.
the whole scene happens at the arena. Is that what you guys are getting
Yes.
at?
Yeah, I don't think that there should
love
be
that
that
idea.
that speeder chase scene either. Yeah, I agree.
You
I
make
agree.
the arena not circular. Make it like an L shape or a U shape, or just seriously, you can be more creative.
And,
with
and
how
then
it
you can
looks.
like at some point too, like even if the battle steps outside of the arena a little bit, you can still get the like huge epic war scene that you have going on.
Yeah, no, I think
like-
what you have is you show that the battle's happening in the arena, and then you show a zoom out scale, and you see warships landing in the background.
So what it kind of sounds like, and I'm just saying this out loud so that I can see if this does make sense. In Geonosian society, obviously all the major structures are very widespread out. And what we're doing is we're kind of taking the Geonosian society and kind of condensing it down and concentrating everything in one area versus spreading it out more. Does that make sense?
Nope.
I don't think I don't even think that
guess,
thought really
I
matters.
think, are you talking about like how there's a building here and then there was a building far away kind of deal?
So like
I
your
think-
war is less, I don't know. If that,
I think that the entirety of Geonosia doesn't make sense. There's no continuity between where you are and where you're going. That's why we stay in the arena, that / production facility of things, and we show a scene of thousands of battle droids at some point in time of Obi-Wan or Anakin just seriously walking past them.
Yeah.
Like literally anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay? And then
I think
Just-
okay. So
just
let's
to-
back
just
up.
to, like,
let's
show
back
scale.
up to when Anakin shows up. Anakin shows up before the Jedi and the clones do, and
Yes.
he walks past. He's like, they're amassing an army. Like this is a good thing that the Republic now has an army too, because this is
he doesn't need to
like-
know about it.
No,
Yeah, he doesn't need to
but
know
like
about the war,
he's like, well, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
And like you can see that, and then finally when the Jedi and the clones show up, like the war starts, and this
So-
is the reason that it starts.
Back up. I'm gonna just kind of retcon exactly what you said. You know how I brought up Obi-Wan having some sort of transmission that he sends out of Count Dooku's like
Yeah,
speech? Have him also capture the clone or the droid army, like a picture of it. Like, you know, there's thousands of them here. Like, have Count Dooku say that, and then that transmission is what makes the army viable. The clone army needed.
It's that evidence that they're like, okay, yeah, we gotta
Like have Yoda say a line to Count Dooku, or not Count Dooku, to Mace Windu, something like 10,000 battle droids. Can you take down 10,000 battle droids? You know what I mean? Like there's no way out of this. We need to accept the army.
and that's where you get that line of I didn't want this to come to war, but we have no other alternative. Yoda could even say that in his interesting
well,
way. 'Cause, like,
Yoda says it at the end, like towards the end, he's like, "Begun, the Clone Wars has." You know, I think that's a great line.
yeah,
I think then, so we move to Anakin and Padme showing up, kind of having similar revelations of, there's a lot of droids here. They get captured by using Padme as a hostage, essentially.
I like
that, you know, Obi-Wan's going to be essentially the same thing happens where they're like, why are you here?
So you still do the thing with all the animals too? Like, are we keeping that? Or
No,
I think
because that's the only way you have an arena.
So here's the
Otherwise,
thing.
you just have them in prison.
here's the thing. I think you can do that. It's
I
just
don't
not.
mind that.
It's just not going to be as drawn out. It's going to be like they released the animals. Obi-Wan and Anakin get a little creative. You know, she seems to be on top of things. And then he's like, they escape off the chains, and that's when he's like, kill her. And that's when a whole bunch of droids and stuff go enter and around them. Okay.
Yeah.
So surround the three of them,
And then that's when the Jedi's
and that's when the Jedi and the clones show up.
Yeah.
fly in.
and this is when the war starts. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And
I
Jango
think-
still gets beheaded by Mace Windu.
Mace
and
would
everything.
Jango forces Mace back or
Off the
away
platform.
from Count Dooku. Anakin and Obi-Wan come up, or he goes down. Whatever, they show up in the same area. It's the same area, geographic area. You're not over in some launching bay all the way over in nowhere.
Yeah.
The fight happens. The fight happens, and then you just have him disappear.
Yeah.
Have
He can
him-
just leave.
Have him seriously.
I don't think.
'cause
Yeah, I don't think
you
Yoda
talking about Dooku?
should show
Dooku.
up.
Yeah, I'm thinking have Dooku just
It's
be
also
like.
the first time you see Yoda use a lightsaber.
I think
You,
I
you don't
think
have
I think you
to
could.
though.
I think you could have Yoda use the Force or do something like that. Like have the same thing where he has to save them.
He could also still totally use his lightsaber in the actual battle too. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
have to be
He
against
can
Count
show up
Here's-
with the
here's
rest
the
of the
thing.
Jedi. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I really hate how Yoda is supposed to be like
decrepit and old. And
no, not even that. It's supposed to be like God tier Jedi. And he can't lift a freaking beam that's falling when he's like, when his
I don't
entire
like that
philosophy in
either.
the next few movies is like, it doesn't matter how big it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good point.
I hate how that is. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, at the end when it almost falls on Anakin and Obi-Wan.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
He has to like struggle and like.
And he could
And
have
that's
just
how
pulled
Dooku
Anakin
gets
and
away.
Obi-Wan
I think
away.
I think
Yeah, exactly.
Ed
Yeah,
just made a
exactly.
really excellent point right there.
You could have just pulled the two people away and been like, "Oop."
like pull,
Definitely.
Like pull a rug.
I mean,
But
yeah.
I think the fight between Dooku and
more
stuff
dangerous.
happens. I think Dooku
Anakin's arm
throws.
still gets cut off.
Yes, I think Dooku throws over a like explosive something or other, and it starts a fire, and that separates them physically.
That's how he gets away.
And he
And
leaves
puts maybe
the
the other
stage
two in
left.
So you're
Sure.
saying it goes Mace Windu and Dooku fight for a bit. Jango forces Mace Windu off. Obi-Wan
Yes.
and Anakin go up to meet him. He beats both of them, and then Yoda shows up again. So Dooku's fighting basically 4 Jedi.
Dooku. No. Here's the thing. I was gonna say is no Yoda. You could cut out Yoda all completely if you
in that interaction.
In that interaction, my interaction is he downs them and he says some line that essentially says that you have a connection. I'm not gonna kill you now. Mm-hmm. And then he throws.
I'm not supposed to kill you.
Yeah, something like
something
that.
like that.
And then he uses like
You
the
can
fuel
say
round.
like you still have a destiny to fulfill.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
He essentially lights, like uses the force, throws some fuel around, lights it, walks to
New
stage
force ability,
left.
Force fire.
Yeah.
No, but
Nice.
walks,
That's
you
not
know, he walks out. I guess it's technically stage right in my mind, but he
Yeah.
walks out stage right. Anakin and them are laying there on the ground. Padme finds them and is like, "Oh no!"
And then she gets her heroic
Clone medic,
moment.
yeah. Get over
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, she gets her heroic moment where she pulls them out of the fire or something.
Yeah, like have him pull him out or something like that. And then you continue with the war scene of things blowing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
And then
here's
everything plays out like
Here's
normal.
the problem then, right?
I have an answer for how Dooku gets away.
I think that's fine. Dooku just disappears into the
Okay.
night. I think
Well,
that's fine.
what I was gonna say is there could just be some clone troopers that show up and escort him out. Like not actually seen,
But that's like
but that's how he got
unknown
out.
canon.
Yeah, like canon that's somewhere else. They just show up and fly him out because they're
That'd be
Yeah.
sneaky. So, like, the
That's
audience
interesting.
sees that the clones can't be trusted because they're also helping Dooku. I like that.
make them dress them up differently so they look different. But
Like
like
Spec
give-
Ops, yeah.
Yeah, spec ops them and have them just take him out and that you.
And then they go join the rest of the battle like nothing
Okay.
happened.
Yeah.
One quick important thing that I think we need to figure out really fast. Boba Fett.
Still gets his head shot off, chopped off.
Well,
No,
yeah, Jango
no,
Fett gets
Jango
his head.
dies. Oh,
Jango
yeah.
dies.
By
And
Mace.
Boba
Fett
gets
Fett,
his
because
head
Boba Fett is huge moving forward.
You could have a one-off line of like, "Don't worry, we have copies of you." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know
I
what
don't,
I mean?
I don't
Like,
think Boba needs to be addressed in this movie. I really don't.
Okay,
I thought the
I think
holding the
Boba-
head was good for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like that's also again going back to canon of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Boba Fett, like as that, it's kind of annoying, but that he's there, and you kind of see like Boba Fett in his early days, and it's all motivated by this. My father was killed. You know, he's the ungenetically altered clone, so he's a clone, but he's the not like.
okay, put him there. He's there. You see him scurrying about the battle. He's such non-consequential. You see the same thing at the end. Okay, I think
Okay.
you can get away with it.
I just wanted to make sure that like that was still woven in somehow because I do think that
Have him have a
if
blaster.
you
and
take
shoot at people,
all the
and
other
that's it.
movies out of the context, you don't have to have Boba Fett there. But when you look at like what is already currently canon that we're not going to be changing and fixing, you kind of have to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's.
What
he's
were
still
you
there.
gonna say though, Noah?
So, how do we get, because the last thing that romantically that happened for Padme and Anakin was he
They got
said,
married.
shut up. the last thing that happened for our version of this movie is that they kissed, they went on this thing, she calmed him down, they got there. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like, do we still want them to have this, like when they get captured, like Anakin says, like, I can't live without you, you know, like that's why
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
I think you
stop
keep
them.
that.
You have that line of like, why couldn't you give me like
Why
I
can't
Yeah.
you give
yeah.
me up for?
yeah,
Vader?
you know, you had you like he could have Jango Fett or something at sword point, like you know what I mean, or like, or even Dooku for all I care. Just have
I think
some
it should be
character.
Jango.
It should be
Fett-
Jango. Yeah.
It should be, but have him at sword point and
Yeah.
be like, you had the culprit, you had him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like I wasn't gonna give
So
you
she's
up.
like a little mad at him.
I
Like, why
can't
didn't you do
live
this?
without you. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you die.
And
like
that's when he wins her heart.
well, that's when she wins his heart.
Sure.
Like
Anyway.
he realizes he's willing to give
I
up
think-
like Jedi stuff for her.
I
And
think we keep. After that, we keep the ending the same, right?
Yeah.
the wedding.
They get married.
With the music
yeah.
and the wedding. Yeah.
Okay, but it's
I
more
think you do that.
deserved
They get
and
eloped.
earned.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so he lost his hand, and that's pretty much
She
it.
pulls
the
him-
Clone
she
Wars
pull-
has begun.
That's our.
She pulls him out of a fire. She pulls him out. A clone pulls Obi-Wan out. That's it.
Yeah.
Actually, not really it, but then fade to Yoda being like, the Clone Wars has begun. Essentially.
Begun. The Clone Wars has
Yeah, fade to that, and then the next scene is essentially just some war scenes, and then essentially they do it's a really crappy transition, but it's just a screen wipe to a wedding.
Yeah. Well, and then that's what it was. Anyways.
I mean, like, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
I
and
think
you can
can't,
still
you can't
also-
really get around that unless you have them get married earlier.
Yeah, and you can still also keep all the like foreshadowing of the Death Star and all that type of stuff.
You can
and everything. So
You can no, get rid of that. It's not needed.
Here's the thing: just
It's
put
not
it
necessary.
here. I think at best you could put it in the background as an Easter egg.
No,
Yeah.
because especially with Rogue One, like what that undercuts Mads Mikkelsen's character completely. Like he was the designer, and like he's not in Episode 2 at all. He's not alluded to or anything. So
He didn't
like,
design
that
the
makes
entire
our-
thing. He designed
No,
like the
no, I agree.
weapons system, didn't
I
he?
agree. He
That's what I thought.
helped greatly, and they couldn't
That's
finish
what I
it
thought.
without him.
That's what I
But
thought. I thought it was the weapon system, so you can build a big circular spaceship.
Ignore Death Star. Don't put
That's
it in
the
this
plan of you. That one YouTube video.
think-
Circle
I think
we
ship.
could, well,
What did you
we'll
make?
figure that out when we're doing Episode 3 because I think that would be if you're going to do something like that, would be more appropriate for that movie. But
Okay, so
No, you want to give the recap?
yeah,
we changed
so-
a lot more in this one than we did one. I
We
think.
needed to.
it needed to. So we open up with Obi-Wan and Anakin coming back from a mission. They have their little quips between each other. They get there, they have a debrief, and they talk to the Palpatine, and they realize that there is a explosion on one of the landing pads. They rush over there to figure out if it was Padme's ship or not. Anakin and Obi-Wan are trying to help the wounded, and they see or sense in the distance Jango Fett, the assassin, the bounty hunter. And so Obi-Wan sends Anakin to go chase him. He isn't able to catch him, but he's able to throw a tracking thing on him. And so they figure out, we're going to go deal with that. Meanwhile, the Heckin council is like, why did you send your Padawan after him? Yeah, your Padawan after him. And he's like, I trust him. He's one of the best I've ever seen. And so they're like, well, you can go figure out what's going on with that. We're going to send your Padawan to protect Padme. And so they're chilling on Coruscant, getting to know each other, making googly eyes at each other. And Obi-Wan follows the tracker to Kamino. Meanwhile, we figure out that behind the Jedi's backs, the Republic and Palpatine have made a clone army based on Jango's DNA. And they confront Palpatine. He's like, you can't do anything. They gave me emergency powers. And they're like, wait, what? And he's like, yep, suck it. And then
Anakin has dreams.
yeah, meanwhile, like as Obi-Wan's on Kamino learning about this, and he finds Jango there and chases him to Geonosis, we have more interactions with Padme and Anakin. Anakin has his dreams about his mommy. He's like, I need to help her. I never got to say goodbye. And she's like, I'm going with you. So they go to Tatooine. He finds her with the Lars family and whatever. And he's like, hey, what's going on? He's like, she got abducted by the Tuskens. She's like, I'm going with you. I freed my people. I can handle myself. Okay. And he goes, he finds her, and they get to say goodbye, and she dies in his arms. He kills some fools, and then she's like, hey, yo, calm down, and it's going to be okay. Oh, I forgot to say that they have a little smoochy smooch session on Coruscant, but he says, no, I can't do this.
And Anakin's having the internal struggle of becoming Jedi
Becoming a
versus-
man
Yeah.
versus becoming a Jedi.
So she calms him down. Sun's getting real low, all that nonsense. And so while he brings her body back to the Lars family, he gets a transmission from Obi-Wan, who has been on Geonosis, and he transmitted Dooku's plan of like this entire droid army, and the Sith are back, they're taking over, and the Jedi are like, yo, that's not cool, we gotta go stop this, and so they go and they talk to Palpatine, and they're like, all right, we don't like it, but we're going to accept your droid or your clone army along with these terms, like we're going to be the generals, like we're going to help bring peace. And he's like, okay, cool. And so they go. Anakin gets there before, and he gets to Geonosis before the Jedi do, because he's closer, and he's going to kill Jango, but before he can, Jango's like, yo, fool, turn around, you either have to kill me and sacrifice your lady, or you both go into prison. And he's like, I can't live without you. They have another moment, another smoochy smooch while they're being shuffled into the arena, and they're gonna make it kind of a sport or a game to like watch them die. Same thing kind of goes down of the animals, but they get kind of free, and so the droids surround them and they're like, you will die. And so that's when the Jedi with the new clone army, they show up, they kill some more fools. Mace Windu attacks Dooku to try to stop him, but he's forced off by Jango and quickly, takes care of Jango. But while he's dealing with Jango, Anakin and Obi-Wan rush up there to stop Dooku. Dooku, again, because he's a better swordsman, dispatches them. And he's like, you have a destiny still to fulfill, so I'm not going to kill you. But he just kind of vanishes. But, obviously the damage is done. Anakin lost an arm and is like sitting in the fire. Padme brings him out, and the clone brings out Obi-Wan. But like you see some sneaky boys help out Dooku get away without anybody noticing or seeing. And the Clone Wars has begun, and you get your wedding at the end. And you also see, at the very end, Dooku talk to Palpatine. Yeah, and he says the plan is going as foreseen. And he's like, good.
You were going to totally work that in. I knew you were going to work that in.
Yeah.
So I have one last comment I just think about. Padme pulling him out of a fire is really symbolic.
Yep.
If you think about it. Because
she's pulling him out of the rage of
without her, he just burns.
Yep.
Yeah.
And which she does in
so
episode
good.
3. Yeah, that's
so good.
We're freaking geniuses.
Oh, it's so good. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Chocolate Dollar Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts or you have your ideas for how you would rework episode 3, tweet at us at Chocolate Dollar. We're also on Facebook.
I forgot to mention that episode 2 definitely has to have another Duel of Fates moment like episode 1 did. Because, man, that song is so good. John Williams is a genius.
Yeah.
It does, but that's when he's killing the Tuscans.
You can also subscribe to us on your podcast providers of choice, iTunes, iHeartRadio,
Instagram.
Just keep swiping.
Google Play Music. That's what I was trying to say. We'll be back next week with our rework of episode 3. And until next time, this is Chocolate Dollar signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Chocolate Dollar Podcast. Check in next time.